So I want to start off with the Falcons. Said you were an avid Falcons fan, and I know on TikTok you've had a lot of opinions on the Falcons and you've given a lot of takes on the Falcons. So first topic of the day for this episode is Falcons beat the Raiders on December 16th, 2024, 15-9. And Falcons defense really came to play. But the Falcons, some people say they didn't have the greatest game, but they still got the win, which is a good thing. So, what's your take on that game?
Man, there's so many places to start, I think as a collective, as Falcons fans, this is probably the first time we've really been mad with a victory. This was an underwhelming showing for sure. Kirk Cousins, I think that's the obvious way to start off, but I'm gonna start off with something positive. The defense played terrific. The defense played terrific, got a safety, two block punts on special teams. Young Hoku still showing us that why he needs to get cut this year, so he will be gone after this year. But besides that, defense and special teams played good, man. But getting into the offense and those struggles, Kirk Cousins, 11 for 17, 112 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Better than the past month, but still not good enough to take us to where we want to go. As Falcons fans, we haven't been to the playoffs in a while, so get into the playoffs would be perfect. And at the beginning of the season, it was looking good. 6-3, we were in first in the division. Had beat Tampa Bay twice. Everything was looking smooth until this month started happening. So downhill from there. But as far as if we're going to get into the game, man, I really just thought that the game plan coming in was to get Kirk Cousins ready. It's a sorry team, if we'll be honest. They're trying to get Shador. Sorry team, get him in. But just some of the decision making that Kirk was doing is just it showed up, and he was making bad decisions. And then you could gradually see the game plan switch to, okay, he can't get it done. Let's run the ball. Bijan Robinson, 22 carries, 125 yards was terrific, absolutely terrific. I think he's one of the top three running backs in the league. But you could gradually see the game plan switch from, okay, let's get this man going, into, gosh, we have to get out of here with a win. So, disappointing, but it was a win. I'm happy with that. I think the defense, special teams played terrific, like I said, but Kirk Cousins, it's getting sketchy, man. It's real sketchy.
Yeah, I understand your points for sure. I want to start with the defense. Like you were saying, I think the defense played really good. I think the defense played terrific, like you were saying. And, the defense has been criticized a good bit throughout the year. I know the secondary's been criticized, but especially the front seven. People have had a lot of negative things to say about the Atlanta Falcons front seven. But against the Raiders, they showed up. Defense played well. I think they even got a safety during the game
Yes.
or something like that during the game. And so they did a good job. But the offense didn't really have their back. So offense didn't really have their back, didn't really score a lot of points. I know Bijan played a good game. Drake London played a good game, but things just didn't seem as efficient. And so with the Falcons, do you
Absolutely.
think it's a quarterback issue only, or do you think it's more than
I don't think it's just a quarterback issue. And I'm glad you said that, because while the defense has been doing great, especially since the bye week, I believe we had our bye week 12. After that, the defense has been terrific. Arnold Ebiketie, he's played. I always thought he was going to be a really good player, but he's really starting to show it now. Grady Jarrett's always been solid. Matthew Judon was very underwhelming this year, but he's starting to show a little effort, and he's also not getting played as much too. So I think that's improving the defense as well. But as far as, do I think it's just a quarterback problem? No. Our secondary has been lackluster, to say the least. I think Jesse Bates has had a pretty good season, but honestly, he's made a lot of mistakes as well too that you just don't normally see an All Pro like that make. Justin Simmons has been another underwhelming offseason signing. I know he had an interception last night. Great for you, but I think he's had an underwhelming season, to say the least. So it's not just Kirk Cousins is the reason why we've been losing these games. He's been a major factor, and if I had a point, he's probably number one. But he's not the only reason. Special teams came up yesterday, but Young Hoku is also. We would have won that Saints game if it wasn't for Young Hoku. Despite how Kirk Cousins played, and I can't remember the stats off the top of my head of how he played, but Young Hoku missing those field goals in the Saints game is why we lost. And if we would have won that game, the point of the season we're at right now would be looking a lot different. So not just Kirk Cousins. You know, he places a lot of blame, but the defense has been pretty lackluster. Besides coming back from the bye week, and you know, Young Hoku is like I said, he has to go this year. He has to go. He looks like a shell of his former self.
Hmm. That's a, pretty out there statement, saying that the
It's the
Falcons
truth.
should probably release Young Wei Koo. But, like you were saying before, earlier in the show, the Falcons were doing good at the beginning of the season. They were doing good, having a good season. They were 6-3 at one point, and everything was going fine. And then things just started to, lack off a little bit as the season has gone along. And, I agree with the Falcons have been doing well, or did well at the beginning of the season, starting out, especially with that Chiefs game. I believe the Falcons should have won the Chiefs game, but they didn't. And, I'm sure they were really disappointed in that. I don't know if it's still upsetting to them or if they're still worried about it, but, I wouldn't blame them if they were. And, like you were saying with the defense has had problems, and it's just a lot going on. But, to my point
Definitely.
again, it's not all Kirk Cousins. It's not all his fault.
Nah, he definitely holds a large part of the blame, but this entire season as a whole is not just on Kirk Cousins of how it's played out.